What subscription service is totally not worth the money? Story 1. I'm about to cancel all streaming services that don't put my continue watching list as the automatic first tier. Story 2. Paramount. Once you have the subscription, it won't let you watch half the stuff without a sub-subscription. Story 3. Funny how we went from paying for basic cable with commercial breaks on every channel to paying for streaming services for no commercials to go back to paying streaming with ads. Story 4. Scentbird. I had it back when it first launched, and holy shoot was it a mess. They took my payment for the first month when I signed up midway through the month. Then sent nothing. I set up my list and waited. Nothing happened. The next month began and they took out a second payment. I contacted them to let them know I never got anything for the previous month, and they told me it was because I joined halfway through the cycle. No refund, no apologies, no consolation prize cheapie to make up for the fact that I paid that month for no fudge reason. Then when I got my perfume, the first choice was out, so I got my second choice. I went to cancel, and that was a pain in the jerk. Then, randomly, they decided to reactivate me and start charging my bank account again. I had to get a new debit card to make them stop. I also had to file a chargeback with my bank. I've had a lot of subscription services over the years, and that was, by far, the worst one. Answer. I used it from 2018 about 20,090-ish. Maybe 4 or 5 years after they started, and they must have got their shoot together. It was a great service to try out colognes. I really liked it. Even canceling was surprisingly good. Went back last around 2023, 2024 for a few months. Good inventory, and it's nice. They have more expensive scents to try now, at a small upcharge, but new bottles and cases they use are worse. Canceling was such a pain, so I just kept pushing my shipment dates by a few months every few months. LOL. Second worst canceling experience behind Factor. Story 5. Someone should set up a streaming carousel company to let you watch the small amount of interesting content on each service. 1 month of Disney, then 1 month of Netflix, then 1 month of Apple TV, and so on. Story 6. Me Undies GF got me a pair for my birthday and didn't realize it was a membership service. Got another pair the next month before canceling. No one needs a pair of 20 mediocre underwear with a cute design sent to them every month. Answer. They used to be the best, quality-wise. I have pairs from 2016 that are still nearly as good as new. It completely baffles my mind. I had to stop subscribing because I had too much underwear. Went to resubscribe about 2 years ago, and the quality is just fudge awful now. Total crap, and actively don't recommend them to make up for past recommendations. Stay away from MeUndies. Story 7. Netflix. I can get 3 streaming services bundled together for the same price as Netflix now. It's just not worth the cost to me anymore. Story 8. HelloFresh. After your initial delivery, that shoot is expensive. Also, they make it very difficult to quit the service. The food is good though, but it takes a long jerk time to make. Answer. Agree. We started it because my wife wanted me to learn how to cook more with prepared ingredients. It eventually was taking $300 a month for 2 meals a week being sent to us. Takes a long as time to prepare and set up, and then I just started keeping the recipe cards and going to Walmart and buying the ingredients, and I was saving so much money doing that compared to HelloFresh. We might take advantage of their offers of free meals for a month and stuff when signing up, then canceling. Story 9. Netflix is getting there. It's like the crappy video store that used to be down the street that might sometimes have decent rentals. Story 10. I have to assume Rocket Money. I always see it advertised on podcasts. Their big selling point is canceling unwanted subscriptions. It sounds like the biggest scam. Tired of spending too much money on unwanted subscriptions? Sign up for our service and we'll cancel them for you. Answer: Rocket Money is great for budgeting for me. I used to use Mint and adored it, but then when it was bought by Intuit and the phased out, I couldn't find a banking app I liked. Rocket Money is like $5 a month or something. I did use it to cancel Netflix just because I'm lazy, but totally ignored the service on lowering bills for you as that taxes a fee as well. Story 11. I'll add Shudder, horror movie streaming platform. Used to be amazing and cheap, full of niche horror movies, and the occasional run of iconic horror rotates in now and then. However, now it's 9 month. Still not too bad on its own. But AMC at its base level also includes absolutely all of Shudder's catalog, sitting at a monthly price of $7 or $9 for ad-free. Plus, you get everything AMC has to offer. So, it's actual mathematically, monetarily, and almost morally wrong to pay for Shudder on its own. Story 12. I get that journalists get paid in basically breadcrumbs, but I cannot stand it when I'm trying to read an article for either research or leisure, but I have to pay for a monthly subscription to just read that one article. It's ridiculous. Story 13. If you are good at searching, Ancestry.com. Yes, their subscription service makes it easier, especially for international searches. But, at least with US records, you can get that information for free, including other genealogy sites. I did a lot of work several years ago. I'd click on the leaf, see the hints, then look up the hints on other sites. Story 14. My parents still pay for their AOL email account. I've told them they could get email for free, but everyone already has these addresses. Story 15. Netflix. I didn't watch anything on Netflix for over 6 months and didn't even notice, canceled it, and also didn't notice any loss. Answer: We canceled our cable package maybe 5 years ago. It came with the internet, so it wasn't that expensive. But when I called to actually cancel, they were desperate to try to offer me new deals to keep me as a customer. The guy on the phone said, "Wait a moment, I'll just pull up your viewing info to see what you prefer watching, and maybe we can get you free channels you would like." Then he got quiet for a moment and said, "Actually, yeah, maybe we just cancel your service. It says here you haven't watched anything at all in 17 months. Story 16. Meal kit delivery services, like HelloFresh and stuff. They are kind of reasonable with the discounts they give you, but the full price is egregiously expensive, and they always generate so much goddarn trash. Like the per meal cost of a full-price HelloFresh or Blue Apron subscription is more expensive than just ordering delivery from most restaurants. Answer: I really thought the same until I started getting them. I'm not disagreeing that they are expensive and they are definitely a luxury item, but they have been so helpful for me. I live alone and I despise grocery shopping and cooking. I'm able to get 2 to 3 items a week that get me through dinners for the week without having to think too hard. I'm fortunate that I can afford it, so I do it. Knowing that they are makes me cook when otherwise I'd just get takeout. Story 17. There is a TV station in Boston that has held the rights to Red Sox broadcasts for years called NESN. The Red Sox were the hottest thing in town from 2004, 2018-ish. They now have a subscription service called NESN 360, which is $30 American a month. Clearly, ownership still thinks it's 2007. Story 18. Netflix. Prime Video in the third world, you get 30 of the catalog as in the first world, but pay exactly the same amount. Story 19. I think Fabletix might be the dumbest subscription model. Honestly, no idea how they're in business still. Story 20. Water heater rental in Ontario. Yes, you own the home. and the water heater in the newly built home is a subscription that you pay every month for, has the biggest scam. Story 21. I could never wrap my head around Peloton. Pay thousands for a bike that also requires special shoes sold separately, then pay a subscription to actually use the features you already paid thousands for. Just buy an exercise bike for a few hundred and watch TV or YouTube. Story 22. I don't think any of them are worth it anymore, not since Netflix mailers. I recently got a new iMac and got 3 months of Apple TV, 2 months in, and I've already run out of things to watch. Story 23. Paramount. Compared to every other service, it's relatively empty, and they absolutely tried to sell it on Star Trek alone. That didn't work since those new Trek series were rejected by Trek fans. Peacock comes close, but they are at least filling those gaps with live sports. Story 24. Hulu's on my list right now. Can't watch Takedown in the building. Just buffers non-stop for over a week. Story 25. Any of the curated monthly subscription boxes. You get a bunch of things you don't need or want, and even when you can customize it, half of the options are not available, and the other half is useless stuff too. You won't save money, you're just going to end up with a bunch of junk. Story 26. $100 a year for Microsoft Office, at least for an individual. $100 a year just in case I want to type something out on my laptop? I will use fudge paper before I pay that. Story 27. Amazon's Audible. You pay a monthly subscription and still have to pay for the audiobooks, which aren't cheap. The point system is a complete scam. Story 28. Amazon Music. I had to cancel it because 95 of the songs I wanted weren't on their free list, which included all the mainstream songs I detest. Story 29. Amazon Prime I pay for next day 2-day shipping, and almost nothing ever actually comes in 2 days. Anytime I try to contact customer services, it's most definitely a bot and they don't do anything. Why am I paying $150 or whatever a year for? On the other hand, I know if I cancel it, it's like 2 weeks or 8 for anything to be delivered. Fudge you, Bezos. Story 30. Primo Water Delivery Service. They will scam you and send you way more than you asked for, and then there's nothing you can do about it. Story 31. ESPN under the premise of watching a bunch of NHL games. Buggy likes to tell me things are blacked out when they aren't. Lots of actual blackouts, and they don't carry the playoffs. Story 32. Any service that forces you to call to cancel when their entire payment platform can be joined digitally. This will make me never return to a service. Story 33. SoundCloud. They offer a feature that allows you to replace the file for any track you've uploaded in the event that you change something or update it. This feature is not available to free users, but what SoundCloud doesn't tell you is that no matter how many times you replace the file, the original version will always be in the metadata. So when you go to distribute your songs to streaming services, SoundCloud will use only the original version, not the latest version, and that'll be what gets sent. I had an album where each song had been replaced multiple times. I was learning how to mix master, so I kept updating the final versions. And when I went to submit it to Spotify, SoundCloud sent only the original versions, which were all badly mixed, instead of the versions that I had recently uploaded. They have terrible customer service as their help desk is just an AI that does next to nothing. That AI will also incorrectly flag songs for copyright infringement and take them down. Remember that replace file feature I mentioned above? Well, if your song is incorrectly flagged and you fight to have it reinstated, the second you replace the file will trigger the AI to flag it and take it down again. I had this happen with one of my songs, and it was taken down no less than 10 times. 010. Do not give them money. Story 34. Peacock, the commercials version. Movies are fine, but every time I watch a show with commercials, the sound doesn't line up with the video, and I have to hit the back arrow and restart for every commercial. Nice scam to make sure you upgrade to the commercial-free version, which isn't going to happen. Story 35. Spotify gets so boring flicking through songs. I'd rather only have a few chances to change the tune and the odd advert to break up the music. Story 36. Any streaming service that you have to pay an additional price to avoid ads. I canceled them all long ago and have done nothing but benefit ever since. Story 37. Amazon. Half the show's display are pay to watch, and the other half are already free on Freevee, so WTF? Story 38. Twitter or X or whatever they call it now. Forget about the basic and premium subscription, where you basically get more views to your replies and ability to tweet longer. Unless you are paying Premium Plus, the site is unusable, and even with the most expensive plan, things like blocking keywords, etc., or searching stuff doesn't work. Scam of the highest order. Story 39. Late to the party here, but Thrive food subscription is awful. Jars with damaged lids allowed oxygen in, molding the product, moldy microwavable rice, cans that were literally split open at the seam, and they refused to cancel the sub unless you jump through hoops. It's a predatory business selling bad products. Story 40. Peacock and Paramount. If there's something I want to watch, I sign up, watch that series, then cancel. Story 41. This is my opportunity to complain about the Disney and Hulu bundle. I pay $19.99 every month for the Disney and Hulu bundle. I also pay $9.99 a month for Hulu. Why? Because it's a scam. With the bundle, you do not get everything Hulu has to offer, unlike how it is advertised that you do. You do not, or at least I'm not getting everything Hulu has on my Disney. So for example, I get things like Bob's Burgers, Family Guy, and basically 90 of what Hulu has, I get on my Disney. Boo-oo. I don't get most of Hulu's original things, movies, documentaries, etc. And I don't get Modern Family, and a couple other things. Modern Family is the main reason I went for the bundle, but alas, I don't get it. So I'm paying for the bundle and Hulu separately. I'm not happy about it. Story 42. Does health insurance count as a subscription? Because for what it costs, it really covers the same as a mesh umbrella would in a monsoon. Story 43. Sirius satellite radio. Seriously. When they were serious about Sirius, it was much, much better. Now it seriously is one big repeatable playlist that they want you to take seriously. Seriously, as if. Story 44. Everyone laughs at me for downloading MP3s off YouTube, but I've literally saved thousands of dollars by never getting a Spotify subscription. Story 45. Skillshare, and basically anything that sponsors every YouTuber BC, they only do that because they stand no chance of building a word-of-mouth type reputation BC. What they're offering is super subpar to mid. Story 46. The Ring camera subscription service. Basically, you drop over $100-300 on a camera for security in your home. After the 30 days free they give you, you're unable to view any motion history unless you subscribe to the service. Basically, without it, you'd have to literally have the camera up live to see who is at your door. Defeats the whole purpose of the item EMO. Yes, it's cheap, like $5-10 a month, but I already paid for the camera. Story 47. Spotify. I love its radio and playlists, miles better than YouTube music. But YouTube Premium covers ad-free videos, and their music, downloading videos on mobile, lifesaver for flights. Also, there's family plans share with 4 people and make it more affordable. Story 48. Netflix. There's really not much interesting movies or TV shows to watch. I usually just watch back the same movies or TV shows repeatedly many times, or just scroll for 15 minutes, then just decide to watch YouTube instead. Story 49. Amazon. You pay an exorbitant subscription fee, and then every little show or channel is an extra. Most things already come with free shipping. Sometimes the shipping is just baked into the cost of the product. Story 50. I was floored when we realized we needed a sub for our fudge printer. We don't use it enough to have the subscription, but what the fudge? I guess we had a free year or something when we first bought it. Story 51. Apple Music. They have a very bad algorithm. Just puts out random song one after another. There's no link whatsoever. Story 52. Gym subscription. I have it for 4 years now, and I'm still not jagged. At some point, I'll go there and complain. Story 53. USA. The costs just keep going up. Tons of hidden fees, constantly bombarded with ads, the content, and the only ones who enjoy it are the ones who were grandfathered in, so they actually get paid to be members. Story 54. A lot of niche hobby subscriptions just aren't worth it. One that I remembered instantly is an apnea training app that the builder was shilling in the freediving sub. I gave it a try because I like to help others in the hobby, and the UI looked promising. It ended up being pretty, but virtually the same as any other paid or free apnea app already on the market. So when they shilled again, I asked them directly, what made the app worth it? What features does it provide that other apps don't? They gave political non-answers. We have a staff to pay. This is our full-time job. We have future updates built planned but can't talk about them. Like all of the other apnea apps, it was a glorified stopwatch. They wanted 13 yearly without providing any justification as to what extra benefit was provided versus free apps. Story 55. We get Disney for free through our cell phone plan. I would never pay for it otherwise. I would never pay for Amazon Video, but fine with getting it for free, even with ads. We most often use Hulu. We'll probably cancel Max and Apple soon, then reboot when shows we watch come back. Story 56. Crave TV. Seems like most of the time it is unusable, it won't load or it crashes. And the add-ons overlap with like 3 different streaming services. The content isn't that good. I did appreciate the Canadian-only shows, but it isn't worth $50 a month when I can find most elsewhere or get CBC Gem for free. Story 57. Stitch Fix. If you're just starting out trying to build a wardrobe, that's fine, but there's no reason why you should still be paying a ridiculous amount after a year or so. Also, some of the clothes they used to send me was not related to my preferred style. Story 58. I'm at the point where Fiasti is about to be canceled. It's garbage. I'm just get an HD antenna. Verizon is horrible for TV. Here are the same crappy movies you've seen a million times before, with logo ads that take up 14 the screen. Story 59. Rocket Money. I've heard their ads several times on the podcasts I listen to, and I have never found anything as useless and stupid as this. Who doesn't know what they're paying for? And if for some reason you get confused, can't you just check your own account to figure it out and cancel the things you no longer use? Their ad says, stop paying for services you don't need. And that's the exact advice I'd give to anyone who gave a single thought to fudge Rocket Money. Story 60. Any streaming platform. Plenty of ways to watch online, anything you like, from live PPV sports to movies still in theaters. Story 61. Factor meals. They were sorta nice to have on hand, but the quality wasn't always great, and I was always still hungry after eating. Story 62. Topic about subscriptions worth the money would be more useful. Most subscriptions are anti-consumer and not worth the price. Story 63. I did Horror Pack for a while, which sends out a box of horror Blu-rays every month. The vast majority of the movies were lame filler titles that started clogging up my shelves. That was like 7 years ago, and there are a handful I haven't even opened yet. Story 64. Ellie. It's a workout gear subscription box geared toward women's clothing. It used to be that you got to choose an outfit from a monthly rotation of pretty decent quality items, and then you'd also get a few items on the side, like a jump rope, or bands, a foot roller, or something to help you work out. It was really nice, and you could easily skip the month if you didn't want anything. Then they dropped the side items. You still got your outfit, but nothing else. The price didn't lower. Not long after, they raised the price unless you were grandfathered in. After a few more months, they changed the whole model. It became that you were paying for credits to pay for items on the site. The clothing items stopped looking like anything I wanted. It started to feel like a giant scam, and I decided to cancel my subscription fully. It took me 2 weeks. They tried every tactic and wouldn't take no for an answer until I started to cite the FCC ruling about easy cancellations and leaving the relevant paragraphs in my responses. Story 65. In my country, Disney is prohibitively expensive compared to Netflix. They make you pay so much for such a mid-library, outside of classic Disney. Story 66. There's this streaming service called Viaplay. Not only do they charge for you to access their movie categories, but they also charge for the movies, aka you first pay a subscription and then also a one-time time-limited access fee for the content of said subscription. Story 67. Rent a penguin. Sure, it's great for the first month, all the penguins you like. After that, you only get to play with one little guy for 4 hours a month, and no free sardines to feed him either, so you have to pay for that. Plus, they never tell you that you don't actually own the matching butler outfits, and if either of you put on or lose weight, you have to buy whole new suits. Story 68. The Wall Street Journal. It's different in different states, mainly so companies and people won't see the stories about them. Story 69. I have Dash Pass for free for DoorDash, but if it wasn't free, I wouldn't pay for it. They raise the prices on the food, so anything you save with Dash Pass gets added anyway. Also, you don't even get priority delivery, so why would anyone bother? Story 70. Pretty much every streaming service except Spotify and YouTube Premium. Spotify is unusable without Premium. YouTube is worse. Story 71. Big NBA fan here. The way any NBA game is streamed is infuriating and not worth it in my opinion. Regionally locked games. Can't watch the team when they're at home. Blackout games because they're on ESPN or TNT, which needs a subscription. And it's all just a guessing game. Also expensive as hell. Story 72. IDK if it's still running even, but Ipsy. At one point they just stopped considering your preferences selected. I don't need a teeny hairbrush, a bright pink lipstick, a dried out eyeliner pen, and the tiniest blush sample I've ever seen every single month. The bags even stopped being cute after a while. Story 73. Hulu Premium. You still get ads for half of the shows even after you pay because it's based on location and channels. Story 74. PlayStation subscription for multiplayer. Like what? I paid for me the game. Let me play the multiplayer. Story 75. Delete me. Just use easy opt-outs. It's the same exact service, but at a fraction of the cost and without the misleading marketing. Story 76. Air ambulance services for the slight chance you are in the middle of nowhere and need a helicopter trip to a hospital. Story 77. NBA League Pass. If you live in the US, it's a borderline scam. I imagine outside the US it's a pretty good deal though. Story 78. TK Jewelers is a scam. The jewelry's fake. Watch exploded on date. Bent wrist, thing, fudge exploded. Story 79. Baldy, I think it's called. They sell head shavers. You buy the initial unit and you